Anime hold a lot of interesting stories. It always somehow manages to share relatable characters that we can feel bad towards, and in the end, they achieve something great that we too can wish to strive for. Today's video will be taking a look at 10 weak at first but overpowered main protagonists in anime. I'm excited to share this list with you guys, and I hope you are ready for this. But first, if you are new around here, then please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with the notifications bell icon turned on to stay up to date with the latest anime news and recommendations right at your doorstep. Now, without keeping y'all waiting, let us begin with the video. Let's open up this list with a more intriguing storyline of a protagonist who always thinks of himself to be the absolute weakest, but in reality he's actually the strongest kid anyone has ever witnessed. This is a fantastic adventure series in search of a place called the Last Dungeon, a hidden place of monsters with unimaginable strength which serve as a hunting ground for the mighty warriors who wish for a true challenge. The protagonist named Lloyd, as I said, he thinks he is the weakest when he can simply one-punch the life out of someone in just one hit. Almost similar to One Punch Man, but let's be honest, let's not compare these two as they aren't really anything alike. But the cast is very fun to watch as they sometimes mess around for the comedic purpose of the series because there is plenty to laugh at and enjoy. This anime is made by Light & Films back in 2021 and is still considered, in my opinion, a great recommendation. So if you're looking for a good adventure show, then this is what you should be watching. The strongest sage with the weakest crest is up next, and while it may not be the best thing you're willing to watch, it does have its ups and downs within its core elements of an overpowered protagonist. But however, the protagonist just makes things look almost too easy, which provides absolutely no challenge or excitement whatsoever. How would you feel now about getting reincarnated to another world and receiving a crest that is deemed to be the weakest of any crest in the world simply because it requires the use of magic? Now, magic in that world has vastly worsened to the point where techniques that were once widely used are now nothing more than just a speck of a legend. Matthias, the protagonist, received that crest, which made him, in the end, a very powerful, unstoppable killing machine towards demons as he casts spells without any incantation required to obliterate his foes with ease. The anime adaptation for Tower of God was met with a lot of hype, both from fans and also the webtoon, as well as a good portion of the anime community in general. It was the first real adaptation of a Korean manhwa, but did the adaptation of Tower of God live up to the hype? Well, personally, it falls way too short. It's nowhere near how good it could have been and should have been, considering the amount of people saying how good it was in the end. The content that was just adapted didn't really showcase the power of the protagonist Bam, as for the majority of the show he was just plainly useless. Now, I know many of us are still to this day awaiting the second season because we still don't have its release date, but on the side note though, the premise of the tower itself with the game variety was really interesting. A lot of the characters with cool looking powers and goals they wish to reach. It never failed to make me enjoy the side cast a lot more than the protagonist. The premise of Divine Gate was to combine several different versions of God Tales to produce an interlocking story of humans rising above the level of being merely human to become something else. However, this series does start off better than it ends, to be honest, but I still think it has potential for you guys to maybe enjoy it, even though it's not really amazing by any means. Somehow the story shows elements of being overly complicated, and at the same time, it plays at being far too simplistic. It is worth a watch because Divine Gate at least tries to go beyond the normal story level of most gods versus man anime, and some people may find that a breath of fresh air or something new. Regardless though, this is a very underrated series and many have not even bothered to watch it to this day. Kicked out of the hero's party because the rest of the team believes that you are weak and a useless being. How awful does that sound? Well, for the case of the protagonist, he is a beast tamer, regarded as one of the weaker roles simply due to them being able to only tame monsters and creatures and do whatever that person commands them to. Not a very exciting role, and neither does it shine in combat, which is what the heroes require to beat the demon lord, and so they just decided to kick him out. Turns out though, however, he was able to form a brand new party with two very rare species of a cat spirit and a human dragon, and help aid the beast tamer in battle as he proves and shows his own skill to the heroes that they were wrong to kick him out in the first place. Being cautious against tough enemies is quite understandable, but when it comes to even a weak mere slime, that might be on a different level of cautious. This anime is called Overly Cautious Hero. Protagonist named Seiya, who is summoned to another world by the goddess Rista to defeat the demon lord of calamity, turns out that he is overpowered, but with one major flaw to him, that he is extremely cautious against any enemy he faces, no matter how tough or how small. If he feels he is too weak or not ready, he would then spend days preparing, such as doing, push-ups or whatever necessary. Honestly, this is one of the best isekai I've seen, not just for its action and adventure, but also due to how funny it is. I'm telling you, this is gold comedy. UQ Holder is quite the underrated spin-off to the Mahou Sensei Negima series, going through the cliches of the shonen field, from the hot-blooded main character who is a nice guy but dense as hell, trying to surpass his teacher Yukihime while trying to get out of his hilly-billy of the village town that he lives in. His goal is to pretty much make it to the top of the tower in a very faraway city and reach greater heights than anyone else, which is quite similar to a lot of shonen protagonist goals these days. JC staff, however, did a great job with the animation since it is very consistent, from the amazing brutal battles to the updated and newer characters and etchiness typical of the Negima series. This is a highly good series worth checking out.
私はのどかと知覚を共有しているのです。Now, don't be fooled by the title of the series. The hidden dungeon only I can enter is not really about dungeons, but more of a fantasy harem-based themed series where the protagonist finds a dungeon hidden that only he can access and finds a woman trapped inside. She offers him the sage's powers, power that he can do anything he wishes to but requires to complete some ecchi tasks to replenish his mana, which is as generic as it sounds. It's not really that bad. It's nice when a show knows that it's a meme and embraces it. One of my only gripes within an anime is when it takes itself too seriously for what it is. But however, the hidden dungeon only I can enter is very much aware that it is an ecchi fantasy full of waifus and an overpowered main character, but it embraces it and brings everything together in a way that still allows the audience to really enjoy it.
What if you got isekai to another world and others got insanely cool powers with combat capabilities to defeat the great demon lord, but meanwhile, you got cooking skills? Well, this is exactly the kind of situation the protagonist is from this anime called Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skills. He may be weak, but his cooking is actually mind-blowing to the point where it may be the best of the best in this world. He even managed to tame a super rare high-ranked wolf that many fear and love due to his cooking skills. Now, believe it or not, this anime is actually made by Studio Mappa, one of the best and talented studios in the anime industry, decided to tackle and create this isekai series, and so far, it is really good and fun to watch. One of the greatest battles that mankind has ever witnessed is the battle between science and religion, a battle that is always still being fought today. So just imagine what will happen if people with supernatural abilities existed and both these sides got a hold of people whose special abilities that are nothing short of miraculous. So how exactly does this relate to the series Towaru Majutsu no Index? Well, it is set in a world where both science and magic coexist. The protagonist Toma is a regular high school kid who lives within a place called Academy City. Now, as a utopia for a new type of people known as espers, people who can have supernatural abilities by controlling the laws of science. Toma, being a student in the Academy City, has a strange power unknown to anyone called Imagine Breaker, a skill that allows him to dispel anything magical or is a product of esper powers. Think of it as like, maybe, anti-magic. Looks like you just made it to the end of the video and witnessed 10 weak at first but overpowered main protagonists in anime. If I managed to leave any anime in particular that you thought would be great to show on the list, then please let me know in the comment section down below, as I'd love to hear your video opinion, or just comment down below what you thought about the video in general, as I always appreciate the feedback. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.